Good adventures, everybody. I'm Melissa Bonzak, and welcome to episode 144 of Books Cubed, the show where I chat with authors you should be reading. Today is the third part of my series on in-person shows. So if you are a reader, you still might enjoy listening to how people set up their shows. And if you are an author, you will definitely like to listen to how people set up their shows. And if you are listening, there are some photos, so you will want to go over to the YouTube version to see what those photos are. But this is Jeremy James Smith today, and I've had him on before. If you like Tolkien, you will love his books. He writes fantasy and Tolkien-ish style. So you'll want to go check out his stuff. I'll have links in the show notes. And we're going to talk about the show that he just did. He did a Comic-Con where they were expecting 90,000 people. And we're going to discuss what happened. And then I will see you after. Okay. We talked a few weeks ago about your new book, and I hope everybody is checking that out. And I'll put a link to that down in the show notes again. But we're going to talk today. This is the third part of my series on in-person shows. And you just did a huge, and you do huge shows. So I wanted people to hear that perspective, and me too. So if you could just jump right in.
Sure. I had a group of author friends. We went to Comic-Con in Seattle this last weekend, and boy, we had a lot of fun. And we talked about what had happened in my previous big shows and how we were going to see 90,000 people over 4 days in an exhibit hall where people were primed to buy. We made a really cool looking booth. I'll send you a picture that if you want to pop it up, you can show what our booth looked like. All four of us came. Several of us went in costume as some of our characters because cosplay is a thing at a Comic-Con. We had dye sublimated signs printed for every one of our series. So we had signs behind us and tablecloths over the table. And we each brought so many books that we could have sold $20,000 worth of books
Yeah.
and probably still had some books left over. And we did not at this one.
Oh,
So I don't know if it was, I'm sorry, I'm censoring. I don't know if it was some of the news that came out last week. Um, there were economic related news items that were going on, or if we were in the wrong place, or if we had too many people stuffed into too small of a space. I'm not sure. But we had, in this case, the biggest ramp up to a show and the least payback.
oh, that's too
And that
bad.
happens.
Yeah.
Anytime you get into business, you're going to have some that are winners and some that are losers. And this one, in this context, did not work out for us. We had a lot of fun. One of our authors is a fan of Robin Hobbs and got to go and meet Robin Hobb and attend a panel. Another one got to see a guy named Ian who was in some Twilight movie thing that was a big deal for her. So, we got to see some of the cool things. I got to talk to R2D2, which was a big moment for me.
Wow. Very cool. I know it would have been for me too. Yeah. I mean, you can see
Yeah.
him on my shelf right there.
Oh, yes, yes. I have the same Lego set.
Yeah. God, I love my Legos.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm happy to answer questions, but I think the thing is we prepared every way we could, and it was a little disheartening because it was difficult this time. And now we've got another big show that's coming up, and we're starting to question: are we still doing the next big show?
Yeah. I mean, you never know. You never
Yeah.
know. And this all started because I'm signed up for Minneapolis Rewind
Okay.
in the in the fairgrounds. They were going to be in the big building. They moved us because it was so big last year. They had 9,000 people through last year.
Hmm.
Only 10% of what you said, 90,000 people came through the
Yeah.
Comic-Con. So much
Yeah.
smaller, but I'm used to shows where if we have 300 and I
Hmm.
sell 50 to 80 books, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
So, I started to panic thinking, I've got this 8 by 8 foot booth. I don't know what to do. So, yeah, so it's been nice talking to people about the different things. Now, I saw the photos that you did of this booth this time, and I've seen the photos that you've done at the Renaissance fairs. So, what are some of the things when you have a large booth? I've
Yeah.
talked to a bunch of people who are going to Minneapolis we all have the 8 by 8 foot booth. And most of us are just going to have an 8 foot table across the front, and we're not going to worry
Mhm.
about the space behind us. So, when you have a big space, what are some of the things that you do to fill up that space and make it an inviting area for people to come into?
Yeah, eight by eight sounds like a tiny space to me based on what I've been doing. So in this case, we had a 10 by 10, and I bought two folding bookshelves from Amazon. I think I spent about $150 per bookshelf, and then they had six shelves up 6 feet tall, and they folded flat so they could go in the back of the SUV. And I think they were 10 to 20 pounds, so manageable, not the lightest thing in the world, but I put them on a dolly, ran them in, easy stuff. Um, so having a couple of bookshelves on some of the spaces, we did more Amazon purchases. I had run a search for tapestries, bookshelf tapestries. So I have some ye olde looking bookshelves that look like they could be in the background of a Harry Potter movie or something like that, that kind of gothic, bookish look. We had that where we had a plain space that didn't have material. And then we also went through the company we picked was Banner Buzz. Anybody who does dye sublimation is probably going to do a similar job. But we did dye sublimated signs that showed up at the top our names and a genre and some pictures of our books. And sometimes we had a description of what types of things were in our books. We all tried different exact strategies, but four banners vertically, and you can get a big thing like that for just a couple $100, and then you have it forever. And any of these shows, if you set it up so that you can fold some of it behind, then you can loop it up on their, it's called pipe and drape. So with just a couple of S hooks, you can loop up a
Yes.
backdrop, use their structure, not have to carry a structure around. We made a structure that came 2 feet forward because we had four authors and about a cord, if you know firewood, worth of books, boxes of books.
Yeah.
So we took that last 2 feet and made it only 8 feet deep and made a back room behind our backdrop. But if you don't have that many books, if they're just going to fit under the table, put them under the table, put them on a bookshelf. But yeah, we do a lot of that to make sure that people can see what you're doing from across the room. That helps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Signs are important. Do you have on your table itself, do you have the banners that hang down? I always kind of think, do I want those? Because there's so many people that walk in front of them that you can't see what's behind their legs.
yes, they're only really useful if no one is standing in front of it, but they're quite useful if somebody's coming up to the table because then again they can get a pictorial impression of what's there. So, like, I use just a picture of my series of books, and the people who made that set of covers for me gave me a cool, fiery, gothic background that goes behind it. It's just a graphic that was eye catching. So, I do that, and then on top, the portion of that tablecloth that's on top, I always put a QR code so that like you can scan directly from the tablecloth and then I have a space that's got a graphic that matches what's on my business cards. And I've got an invitation to join my TikTok and Discord servers and what my handle is there. Um, yeah, so I use that space and then I leave a big chunk of it blank for where I'm going to put my books because I don't want my books to interact with a design that's on top. I just have a
Yeah.
blank black top otherwise.
Yeah. You kind of want them to stand out. Now, I know a lot of places will give the stretchy tablecloths that are in black.
Hmm.
Do you like that, or do you? For me, I always have yellow fabric that I put over the top of that goes to the floor because the black for me is just it blends in. Everybody's got black, and I want something that's eye catchy.
This is why everybody has black. If I drip my coffee on your yellow tablecloth or I
You're gonna see
drip
it.
some crumbs from a snack, they're really painfully obvious. It tends to blend in on black. So it's if you are a perfectly prim and proper person with a amazing, setup. Like you've got just this great presentation behind you. Awesome. If you're a little bit of a messy person, a darker color can
That's
help.
funny because I'm a slob and I'm surprised that I have never spilled anything on my tablecloth.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, so not a lot of people. So were people just not interested? Were they just walking by or did they have smaller amounts of people walking through the artist alleys?
So many conversations. We talked to thousands of people. We did have the conversations. Um, I'm a little bit concerned that in this particular booth, we had four different authors. We intentionally chose one from a time travel perspective, myself from a comedic fantasy. The person next to me was in a myth based fantasy, and the person next to that was in a cozy romantasy. So we weren't directly competing,
Yeah,
but every person that came up, we felt like everyone needed to talk to them.
yeah,
I suspect that that may have been a bit much as well. But like I said, there was real news that came out that weekend too.
yeah.
Things were changing in the world, and I think there may have been a little extra uncertainty that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And we talked to people. We were busy the whole time. We weren't sitting around twiddling our thumbs.
That's good.
Um, but
Yeah.
the closing was the issue, and I think that it just may have been too much in too small of a space. My Ren Fair space is 20 by 20 and
Yeah, and
has two 8-foot bar tops.
we've talked about that before, but in case people missed that one, explain because I thought that was very cool the way you have your Ren Fair one set up or the way you talked about setting it up.
I made a modular wooden structure with a canvas top just to make sure if there was a collapse, nobody's going to get wood dropping on their heads. But we made something that was a secure space to store our books for the 6 weeks we were at that Renaissance fair. And we were only using it for 5 weekends. So in between, we'd pack everything into the back room, lock it up, and be able to walk away and know that weather it wasn't going to blow down a pop up. A lot of people use pop ups. It doesn't make sense for a 1 day or a 2 day setup. It only makes sense if I'm going to set it up and then leave it up for a series of weeks because it takes me 8 hours to set it up and then 6 hours to break it down. So it's not something that works everywhere, but it is a real presence and it makes a nice place for people to get out of the sun, out of the rain if it's raining, and be in kind of a cozy, familiar pub kind of an environment.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Were there places, did you have chairs or anything? Was it big enough that somebody could come in and sit down?
Yeah, I had at the last show, I had four bar stools at one of the bars, and then the other bar was set up just as a walk up to a sales space. So one space was for conversation, one space was for sales, like completing sales and delivering the product. I've got a nice collapsible table that coordinates in, and I think I'm actually going to have a couple of benches around that table this year to encourage people to hang out more. And at the Comic Con, I met a bard friend of mine that goes to that same Ren Fair. He's going to come in and play his ocarina. That's the little whistly kind of thing that you have in Legend of Zelda. So he's going to do bardic things for us on and off to enhance. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that. And if you can send me some pictures, I'll pop them over the top of
Yeah.
this video so people can see. Because I know I've seen the pictures somewhere, probably on TikTok.
Possibly. Yeah.
And I thought or maybe you sent them to me, and I thought they were very cool. Now, I forgot to ask, so for the table, this last show you had, did you have a giveaway?
Bookmarks. Yeah, every one of the authors had bookmarks that were being given away. One of them tried your idea of selling the ebooks and did a
Yeah.
whole bunch of pre-work and had something like 100 ready to sell. I think she sold one.
How did she have them
Sometimes they're a
displayed?
bad show.
How did she have them displayed?
She had a message about them on her tablecloth, and then she verbally talked about them.
Yeah, so I don't know if did I show you this? This is my my latest design.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from a distance, people can see exactly what it is. And so, if you're just listening, it says ebook going down the left side and across the bottom, it says, has a dollar sign, it says $5. Then in the top of that, it has the book cover. It would be in color. That's just one I printed to see how it looked from across the room. I put it across the room and walked
Hmm.
10 feet away just to see and went, okay, that's good. Because once in the past that I've had have just said it's small across the top, and it was never, I think, never big enough for people to go, oh. And the first time I did them years ago, I didn't even have the word ebook written across the top, and people would try to just think they were freebies and take them and walk away. But no, 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 come back. You have to pay for
Yep.
those. There's a code on the back.
Yeah.
So if she had a dedicated display with I use spinny pegboards, and they usually have a slot at the top, and I have a 20 by 18 sign. So instead of table signs, I have those on top of my spinnies. And it says, has the logo and it says what it is, and easy enough to glance at and see and the price, of course, and the price is on the card. And people will still say, how much is it? Like,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. It's written everywhere.
And the other three of us didn't do that because we've got our ebooks on KU.
See,
So
that's
we'll
the
have to
issue.
take those off of KU first.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I was on KU and, didn't really do anything for me. But
Yeah.
Cozy Mystery just doesn't have a home. My Portal Fantasies, maybe when the whole series is complete, I might run it for 90 days on KU when I'm not going to be doing a show. Because I only do a couple shows a year. So, if the Minneapolis one goes well, then I'll go back because my daughter lives in that city, and it's nice to go visit her. So, if that goes well, then I'm able to leave my retractable banners and I have my books sent to her house, so I don't have to carry them with me and all that. So I can leave them in her garage and
Mhm.
in plastic storage tubs because it's Minneapolis and the weather and all that. Um, and yeah, the news, I had somebody say to me, are you worried that people will not go to Minneapolis because of things going on in Minneapolis? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping they'll
People will
still.
still show up. Minneapolis and their convention center, it's all connected by skyways. So I think you're going to have people coming through. You're not going to have those actions happening in skyways, and I think you'll be fine. That convention center has always been populated.
Oh, this is the fairgrounds.
Well, the fairgrounds, I haven't
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I keep thinking convention center. No, it's the fairgrounds. And when I took a look at the fairgrounds, I'm looking at this open stage and stadium seating going, So I wrote the lady and she said, oh, no, no, we're inside. So I think maybe it's in the concourse or it looked like a building. They had pictures from last year. So there must be some sort of a building. I probably
Yeah.
should know more about it, but I was so excited that it was only $150. It was an eight
Hmm.
by eight table, and I could stay with my daughter and visit her. So I haven't seen her since Christmas. So,
Yeah.
it's months and months. It's been awful.
Are you familiar with desiccants?
No.
Okay, so when you're putting your books in a plastic tub, going to a place that has humidity, you might consider doing an Amazon purchase again or wherever you get it. You can get a bucket of desiccant, and it's little beads that will absorb the moisture from the air and keep it from getting into your books. And if you get the right kind, they're reusable, so they'll change color when they've absorbed moisture. Then you put them on a cookie sheet in your oven, heat them up, and moisture goes away, and you can use them again.
Oh, okay. So I wrote that down. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. Yeah. And yeah, yeah, I have the ones, the packs they always give you that they include with electronics. And I keep them in a bag in case we ever have like our cell phone falls on some pool of water. We have a pool and sometimes, you're outside with your phone and whoops, your phone goes right
Yeah.
into the pool. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So
Yeah.
I throw them in that, but this sounds better. So yeah, I'll take a peek at that kind of thing and send some of those out there to her. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that it didn't do well. I was really hoping to hear some exciting news about how the show went.
I've done a couple hundred trade shows for different businesses, and sometimes they're not good shows. And then you go to the next one, it's great. And then you go to the next one, it's okay. So just like any business, there are up and down times. And this particular one was just difficult. The one before, I made more sales at a show where there were 40 people
Wow.
because just about everybody there purchased something because it was a Tolkien appreciation event. It was about the most qualified audience I could get.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, they'd eat up your book. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, gracious. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this update on what was going on. And I know you have another book coming out soon.
Yeah, I just finished the editing on Bardcore. I'm considering having the next four written and releasing them together as the cycle.
Yeah.
One of my big objections I hear being a series writer is I don't buy unfinished series.
Yes.
So if I do a cycle that has the beginning, middle, and end with multiple books and release it at the same time, we're going to see how that works.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So when your multi books and when all that is out, then you come back again and
Okay.
we will hopefully, I'll have time to finish reading everything before you come on. So then we can talk about them
Awesome.
all without giving
Thank you
away
so much,
spoilers.
Melissa.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on today. I really, truly appreciate your help and helping me visualize everything.
I'll send pictures here shortly.
Okay, everything we talked about is down in the show notes, and I'm really sad that there weren't more buyers. You know, you expect a 90,000 person show to be a lot of sales, but like you said, you never know what's going to happen. You never do, ever. You know, you just kind of roll the dice and you go and you chat with as many people as you can, and you see what happens. So, you know, they gave out a lot of bookmarks. So perhaps people will get back to their houses and decide, yeah, I can afford a book or two, and I'm going to buy these books because I have the QR code to get back into it. So, you know, we'll see what happens. And, you know, like I said, everything is down in the show notes. Go check out his books and check out the photos. If you were listening, you know, you might want to go and watch the YouTube version. You can just scroll through and look for any of the photos that I'll have popping up periodically during the interview. And that is it. And next week we are back to authors. And I know the readers will be really excited about that because I have some really good books that I'll be showcasing in the next few weeks. So I'm excited about that. And until then, go read a good book. The Books Cube theme music was written by Laura Lynn Hardy. She performed the vibraphone. Billy Tyke Miller performed percussion. And it was recorded at Mills Kids Recording in Huntsville, Alabama.